I've got about 100 people throughout the state who get up and go to work every day thinking about how they can improve the quality of life in communities by making sure that toxic harms are not occurring. DTSC is a part of the Public Health and Environmental Protection team that we have here in state government.
The Department of Toxic Substances Control is part of the California Environmental Protection Agency.
We're the hazardous waste folks, but we also have some of the broadest authorities, so we can take care of things in air and we can take care of things in water, but our hook is hazardous waste.
DTSC is the only environmental agency in California that conducts criminal investigations.
We're the folks that go out physically into the businesses to check what they're doing, how they're managing their hazardous wastes. We have peace officers that go out, conduct investigations. They serve search warrants. They do arrest people for environmental crimes that are serious.
Working together with other local and state agencies, DTSC's enforcement branch goes after businesses that have bad environmental practices.
We work with police departments, we work with district attorneys, with city attorneys, with the Attorney General of California, we work with the US EPA, coordinating our enforcement actions, our inspections to make sure that we get the biggest bang for our buck.
Harmful toxics can be stored or used in places you may not expect. It's DTSC's job to make sure that these toxics are removed from the community, the site is cleaned up, and the people responsible are held accountable. We're
currently working in enforcement action at a facility that it was storing asbestos waste in just the most abominable conditions. It was a warehouse and a parking lot right next to each other that had bags of torn open asbestos waste, and this facility was located right next door to a high school.
In our investigations, we found jewelry that in some cases contained over 1,000 times the legal limit for lead.
Even an everyday item like cheap costume jewelry can pose a threat.
Sometimes you can smell a chemical, but sometimes you can't. And in the case of lead in jewelry, there is so much jewelry coming into California, particularly for children, that have lead components in them. We have had tragic consequences in Minnesota. A young child died ingesting a piece of leaded jewelry and died of acute lead exposure. So that's why we are so active in that arena.
DTSC deals with hazardous waste in any situation, even in the aftermath of a drug bust.
We have done thousands of meth lab cleanups over the years. They're super dangerous. We're the ones that show up once the police have collected their evidence and they're done with the site. We come in, create order out of disorder, make sure that those chemicals are packaged properly and get to a proper disposal facility.
DTSC is also directing its attention on businesses and facilities that handle or store hazardous waste in low-income communities.
We're really trying to focus our efforts in those communities to try and help those folks create a better quality of life.
DTSC's enforcement branch wants to make sure businesses handle hazardous chemicals in a safe and legal way.
So we want to have this system that is progressive, it's predictable, it's fair, and it's consistent across the state, and that when we go to a business, we mean business.